What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, crispy skin, barky, amazing! Carolina pulled pork mixed with Texas style pulled pork for the ultimate pulled pork sandwich. Coming up! This is a pork butt. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a typical pork butt. Picked it up at the local grocery store. It is fat cap intact, skin removed, bone in. So the most basic pork butt you can buy. And today we're trying something different that I haven't done before that I've been wanting to try for a while now, which is combine the best of both worlds with Texas pulled pork and Carolina style pulled pork. For the Texas pulled pork, we're gonna take this pork butt we got right here, hit it with a heavy black pepper rub, throw it on the offset behind me, and get that really nice brisket-like bark and a lot of that post oak wood smoke flavor. As for the Carolina style, where we're gonna get a pork picnic butt, salt the skin, cook it over direct heat with a mop sauce, and get that nice direct heat barbecue flavor, a little bit of acidity from the mop, and of course that lovely crispy skin. And then at the end, we're gonna mix together the smoked pulled pork with the direct heat pulled pork, and we're gonna see if it's the best pulled pork of all time. But first, we're gonna get this thing seasoned up. Don't think I'm gonna do any trimming on this. Let's take a look-ski here. You have this little flap, I might round off a little bit, but really it's pulled pork. It's a very non-fussy cut. But anything that might get a little too crispy, I'll probably round off a little bit. But this butt is looking pretty good right out of the gate, so I'm not really gonna worry about it too much. But as for a rub today, I'm going classic Texas style barbecue with some good old-fashioned SPG, nice heavy black pepper coating with some salt and granulated garlic. You can buy this on the website, or you can make your own, or buy one of the millions of other SPG rubs out there. But this one's my favorite because it's got 16 mesh black pepper and diamond crystal kosher salt. And you can go on really heavy and get a really nice bark. So just gonna see how much this thing can take, and whatever sticks will stick. Get the top, get the bottom, and of course, folks, we're not gonna forget the sides. Come on. And that is looking pretty much perfect to me. Let's throw it on the pit. And on the pit we go. As you can see, the pit is already fired up because I'm cooking a brisket today. And I got all this room, so I figured might as well cook a pork butt at the same time. So I'm gonna put that bad boy right about there. And we're rocking a classic post oak fire right around 250 degrees. I just got this pit fired up, which is why it's super smoky right now. And we're gonna keep it nice and smoky for probably the first hour, around 250 degrees. Then we're gonna bump the temps up, probably to around 275 until it's time to wrap these things. But we will check back in periodically. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Boot. As for the Carolina side of things, what I got here is a skin on, bone in picnic ham. And I had to go to 3 grocery stores to find this, so that's kind of concerning because these are usually everywhere. But yeah, that was annoying. Not gonna do much on this either. Trim it up if you see something weird hanging off. And of course, I'm gonna pat it dry. Got the old Chud box here fired up. It's on its way up to about 300 degrees, which is where I typically like to do direct heat barbecue cooks. And as I mentioned, I'm gonna salt the skin very heavily with some good old-fashioned table salt. And again, this is just to protect the skin so it doesn't get really dark and gummy. This is not necessarily for seasoning, although obviously it will season the skin, but not nearly as heavily as it looks. It's gonna draw moisture out of the skin, as well as keeping the smoke off of it for the first half of this cook. That way we end up with some nice crispy skin at the end. So that looks pretty good to me. We're gonna be rocking this pit about 300 degrees, and we'll check back in on this bad boy in a couple hours. This video is brought to you by Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-consumer meal delivery service that delivers freshly prepared, pre-selected meals right to your door every week. Made up of 70 diverse and talented chefs that believe good food should be for everybody. And the meals are made fresh every day in regional micro kitchens and not giant warehouse production facilities. Simply go to cookunity.com, set your preferences of what you like to eat, choose your meals, which are delivered fresh, never frozen, and the menu rotates every week so you always have something new to try. Then the meals are shipped right to your house. Simply heat, eat, and repeat. And with all the cooking I do on this channel, I don't always have the time or energy to prepare a really good, nutritious meal. And Cook Unity is by far the easiest way to have a delicious, quick meal, but also gain inspiration from award-winning chefs who craft hundreds of globally inspired meals. It's also incredibly convenient for me to experience these cuisines that I may not be all that familiar with, to gain inspiration from meals that I can cook on this channel with a barbecue twist. I gotta tell you folks, everything I've had from Cook Unity has been absolutely fantastic. You know, everything is so well balanced, well seasoned, and all these meals are just so good and incredibly easy. You can cook them in the oven or in the microwave. This miso shrimp is probably the best thing I've had in a while. CookUnity chefs offer a wide range of meals with over 7 different dietary preference filters, including vegan, paleo, and gluten-free options. So if you want to give CookUnity a try for yourself, go to cookunity.com/chuds50 or click the link in the description box of this video taking you to cookunity.com where you can use code chuds50 to get 50% off your first order. Thank you, CookUnity. Next up, let's bust out some beef tallow buns. Starting, we're going into the stand mixer with some water, our yeast, our sugar, and our dry milk powder. And give that a quick little mix. Next up, in we go with our bread flour, our salt, and our dough conditioner. And let that all come together. And once the dough ball has been formed, in we go with our Wagyu beef tallow. And now let this mix for about 5-6 minutes. Woo! Beautiful smooth ball of dough. So now into a grease bowl we go. And let this double in size for the next hour or so. Now that the dough has doubled in size, out it comes. Boop. We're gonna divide it up into some individual dough balls. I'm gonna go for about 90 grams today. Beat to faux, and do what we always do, tuck all the seams underneath. Bit of a sticky dough today. But we're just rolling these up into some nice, beautiful little balls. And onto a Silpat lined sheet tray we go with all of our balls. I also lined the Silpat with some semolina flour to give the bottom a little more texture. But now I'm gonna cover these in plastic and let them proof again for another 30-45. And now that these buns are in fact looking nice and plump, gonna hit them with a quick little egg wash just to help add some color. Ooh. This is just a beaten egg with some water. And I'm feeling like a sesame bun today. It's been a minute. Now I'm gonna bake these off at 350 degrees until they are looking absolutely beautiful. Just bake these off, didn't hit them with any butter or anything, because I wanna keep these nice and simple and keep them nice and soft. So now I'm gonna let these cool down for a little bit and move on to the next step, which is to bust out a quick mop sauce. So I'm going into this pot with a nice squeeze of some olive oil, and by that I mean avocado oil, and in with our onion. And just let those cook down for a little bit. And once cooked down nicely, good and soft, starting to take on some color, I'm gonna go in with a handful of garlic. Get in there. And let that cook down for a minute or two, as well as our lemon. And once everything starts smelling real good, we can go in with everything else, including a cup or so of some white vinegar, same amount of some apple cider vinegar, a healthy shot of some hot sauce, as well as some Worcestershire. For a little extra kick, some red chili flakes, some dry mustard, and for some color, a little bit of paprika. And bring that up to a simmer. And after cooking away for a couple minutes, I'm gonna finish it off with a nice big fat pinch of salt, as well as some freshly cracked black pepper. And just let it simmer for a couple minutes to soften up the garlic, let all that lemon get infused. But as you can see, we're getting pretty close. And you can add pretty much whatever you want to a mop sauce, as long as it's really acidic. That's what's really gonna help cut through all that fatty pork. But this is a pretty basic one. And then when everything's feeling good, grab yourself a nice cold Miller Lite and go in just for a little extra body and a little bit of that lovely Miller Lite flavor. But save some for Papa. And now our mop sauce is done. Set this aside until we need it. Next up, let's go ahead and bust out a Carolina Gold style mustard barbecue sauce. So I'm going into this pot with some Worcestershire sauce. Oh God, now that's hot. As well as our apple cider vinegar and our brown sugar. And the only reason I'm doing this in a pot instead of a bowl is because I really want that sugar to be dissolved. So I'm going to dissolve that in the liquid components of this sauce. And once that's up to a simmer and everything is melted, we can go in with everything else, including our mustard, our ketchup, some hot sauce, Texas Pete please, some black pepper, some dry mustard, granulated garlic, granulated onion, some paprika, some cumin, and some cayenne. And get that all nice and mixed up. And now to steal a page out of Leroy and Lewis's book, who stole a page out of the Salt Licks book, I'm gonna go in with a bunch of oil. And that's just gonna add a lot of body and richness to this sauce. It's also gonna mute the really intense flavors from the mustard and the vinegar that are in here and make it nice and smooth. So, immersion blender going in, and I'm gonna slowly drizzle in the oil. And just like that, our mustard barbecue sauce is done. We're about 8 hours into this pork butt cook, so let's go ahead and see how she's probing. Looking nice and barky, gotta love that. 171, so we're getting pretty close to wrapping. Been a minute since I cooked a big old pork butt like this, but crispy bark, feeling nice and rendery, but ooh, nice and pillowy right there. But I'm gonna let this go for probably another 30, 45 before we wrap it up, but let's check in on the other one. We're about 7 hours in on this picnic ham here. As you can see, it's shrunk up quite a bit, got some bone pokage going on, and the salt cap is pretty much ready to come off. In fact, I'm gonna take that off. Ow, that's hot. But let's see what this thing is reading. About 178. But I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over. Get all that extra salt off of there. Yoink! Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, loving that direct heat color though. Looking really good. Oh God, I burned myself. I sent some fat down into the coals. Oops, which is a good thing because we want some really hot fire to crisp up that skin. So we're gonna let this continue to cook on the underside, get that skin nice and crispy, which will also help speed up this cook. And it's also time to start mopping. Ooh, yeah. Just heated this up a little bit because we don't want to seize up the meat or slow down the cooking process. For the next, I don't know, however long this is on here, it's going to come out periodically and mop the underside. That'll soften up this part that's been hitting with the direct heat and hardened up a little bit, and also add some wonderful flavor. And we got all that steam in there, perfume in this thing. I think it's going to be tasty. All right, y'all, we're like 10 hours into this pork butt cook off the offset here, and it is probing right around 180, 185 degrees. Looking absolutely beautiful, lovely bark on there, feeling really nice. And I probably could have wrapped it a little sooner, but after the stall, it shot up pretty quick. So now we're gonna give it the good old-fashioned foil boat. The pork butt really is the perfect contender for the foil boat because we want this thing to be nice and juicy and fall apart tender, but it's also got a really big fat cap on top, which we want to continue to render and get a little extra smoke on. So back on the pit this goes, honestly, probably for another 45 minutes to an hour, and it'll be done. And just like that, as if we planned it out, both of these cuts are coming off the pits. Picnic ham looking good. That one took about an hour less than this one because we were cooking a little hotter and direct heat's always a little quicker, but still, I thought both of these were gonna take a little less time, but here we are at midnight resting some meat. But this is looking really good, just nice crispy skin as opposed to the nice soft squishy crispy bark from the pork shoulder. But alas, we need to let these cool down for at least a good little bit before we dive in. But before I go, say whatever you want, but there is nothing better than direct heat barbecue with crispy skin. I mean, that is a flavor that you just crave. I might ring the bell already. But I gotta leave because I'm gonna dive into these, but I need to let them cool down first. So I'll see y'all in like, I don't know, 45 minutes. All right, y'all, after a very long cook, I think it's time to finally get ourselves some pulled pork. Starting with our Texas style, going into the tub. Oops, oh no. And yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. Oh yeah, nice and tender. Where's that bone? Nice and clean. Nothing to see here, folks. And I'm just gonna go ahead and break this up, make sure that bark is evenly distributed. And yeah, that's just some quality looking pulled pork. Still very hot, should have let it rest more. But as you can see, beautiful bark, beautiful smoke, beautiful texture, not too mush. And now it's time to move on to the Carolina side of things. I just popped it in this foil boat to rest. Whew, also, still very hot. First thing I'm gonna do is just take this skin off, which is incredibly crispy. I mean, I just want to make this and then call it a day. I mean, that is just beautiful eating right there. Get all this fat off the underside. And if this wasn't a video, this would have all been eaten by now because it is so just crunchy and delicious. And I can't help myself. So good. But let's dive into this. Oh, equally as tender. Bone comes right on out. And now the moment of truth. We got Carolina on one side, Texas on the other, and it's time to just marry the two. Oh yeah. Good God, that is a lot of pulled pork, folks. What am I doing with my life? We're gonna be eating pulled pork at the Chud shop 4 days. And at this point, we've got some beautiful texture, but we need to add some sauce. So you know I'm going in with this mop sauce because regardless of what state I'm in, a tangy barbecue sauce is always used, whether it's Texas or Carolina. So I'm just gonna add some of this mop sauce. It's also a great way to clean your mop. Maybe a little extra. Oops. I mean, right off the bat, I'm already starting to get that post-oak yet direct heat smell, and it smells really good. Beautiful, and there it is, folks. That is our pulled pork, one on the offset and one on the direct heat cooker. So I think it's time to finally build a sandwich. Look at this bun, folks. I mean, come on. So squishy, so simple, so few ingredients. Way better than anything you're gonna buy. Gotta try them. And they're made with Wagyu beef fat. Slice it in half. Lovely squishy bun. Gotta love it. And of course, we're gonna butter toast these. So going on to the chud press. Ooh. Yup. Bottom bun going down with a healthy smear of our beautiful Carolina Gold mustard barbecue sauce. Edge to edge, folks, come on. Top bun going down with a nice healthy dose of some Texas style barbecue sauce. I made this in my volcano beef shank slider video. If you haven't checked out that video, please go do so. This sauce is really good. Followed by a lovely mound of our beautiful Carolina Texas style pulled pork. We're not going shy here, folks. Nice dollop of pork. We got little bits of bark. I can smell the mop sauce from here. And then for a little veg, I'm gonna go down with a couple of homemade pickles, which I've made on the channel several times by now, as well as some pickled onions, which I've also made a bunch of times. So you might as well like and subscribe if you wanna learn how to make these. But I did also make these onions in the beef shank video. But we're not talking about pickles today, folks. We're talking about the ultimate pulled pork sandwich. So you know I'm gonna top this with some of our crunchy skin. Little textural contrast, a little extra flavor. And you know, I probably should have chopped this into the meat, but it just works so well as a garnish. I worked at Leroy & Lewis for too long to chop this into the meat. And then finally, lid goes on. Boop, boop, boop. And there it is, folks. The ultimate pulled pork sandwich. Texas meets Carolina meets just pure indulgence. Would you just look at it? We got Texas sauce, we got Carolina sauce, we got crispy skin, we got offset barbecue bark, we got direct heat flavor, we got mop sauce, and yeah, I'm ready to dive on in. Let's try it out. Oh. Oh man, that is so flavorful. That is truly phenomenal. I mean, you got everything. The crispy skin, the fresh bun obviously helps. The two sauces work incredibly well together. You got the acidity from the pickles, the smokiness is coming through from the offset and the direct heat pit. It honestly melds together a lot better than I thought it would. I thought it'd be pretty distinct, you know, some wood smoke versus fat smoke, kind of bite per bite basis, but it all mixed together for just like the ultimate barbecue experience. And as far as ultimate barbecue experiences go, that's one of them. Good Lord, it's so flavorful. I'm taken aback. I can taste both the smokes, but really it's a combination of sauces with that crispy skin and the fresh bread that really all just brings this home. Because we got sweet, we got spicy, we got tangy, you know, we got brightness. There's textural contrast, and really this is just a phenomenal bite. I thought this was just gonna be like a really good pulled pork sandwich, but this actually has a lot going on. Oh, good. It really is salt, fat, acid, heat in its finest form, and that bun is just so minimal but so perfect. This is just genuinely a wonderful eating experience. Good God, that's it. I'm doing it. 10 out of 10, folks. If it wasn't 2:30 in the morning right now, I would call all my friends to come eat this because it's really good. Not sure if I made that point yet. Damn! I'm out of words, so I'm gonna eat the rest of this off camera, but before I go, I think it's time for the official taste test. Oh? Yeah, all right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely fantastic Texas meets Carolina style pulled pork sandwich. I highly recommend giving this one a try, obviously. It really was an experience. And I know not everybody has an offset and a chud box in their backyard, but there are many ways to mimic these results with other pits available on the market. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.